Hello, welcome to Cooking with Cornbread. Been a while, long while. Got the curtain up behind me that my wife hates, but it keeps heat out. Save money. Alright, so if you follow me on Facebook, then we're doing funnel cakes. And I have already made whipped cream. This is whipped cream from last night. Actually, I put it in a Ziploc bag. And I have figured out a hack with whipped cream. I have always made my whipped cream with powdered sugar, and you don't have to. You can use granulated. Obviously, the ratios, because it takes a whole lot of powdered sugar to get it sweet. Granulated, I've never made it with granulated sugar until last night, and it tasted fine. I'm stunned. Alright, so I've already messed up, and I'll go through the recipe here and get to it. So you got 1.5 cups. You got dry and wet. Let me just, you don't want to. Oh, whoa. Been a while. Been a minute. So you got, I've got dry and wet, and I'll show you how I messed up. So I've got a 1.5 cups of flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar in this, and a pinch of salt. A pinch of salt's like a heavy quarter teaspoon of salt. Alright, in this I've got a cup of milk, a half a teaspoon of vanilla, and I'm going to put an egg. And where I messed up is like when to save on dishes, because I'm fixing to use this again anyhow. This is what I measured my milk with. So to keep from so many dishes, I could have done my wet in here. Oh well, no problem. No problem. So, get my whisk. Pioneer woman, thank you. So always whisk your dry up first, just to combine them, and make a well in the center for the wet. That's all you're doing is combining the ingredients. It's all going to get mixed up anyhow. So we're putting an egg. If you're not confident in cracking an egg over top of your pre-mixed stuff, do it in a small bowl. That's just more dishes. So we break the egg up. Now I'm not going to use all this. I'm going to have to find a way of sealing off the. I might put it in a Ziploc bag. I don't know. I'm not going to use all of this. But my oldest daughter wants a little bit of it. And she has promised me that she'll come watch me or film me fry it. We'll get into that here in a minute, but you want to make your batter first. Alright, so you pour the liquid wet into dry. Always wet into dry. And gentlemen, ladies, if you didn't know, but gentlemen, go ahead and put water in there so it don't stick. All that crap don't coagulate, and it's watered down. Alright. So this is what you end up with. Wet, dry, and we mix. Missed church today because I've been under the weather. You just heard me sniffle. So this is more or less a pancake batter, to be quite frank. It's a little bit stiff pancake batter, and that's honestly, that's simply because I was lazy when I did my measuring. Cup and a half of all-purpose flour. I used the spoon, went right in, and you don't do that. You honestly, if you can find a recipe by weight, that'd be great. I haven't delved that far, but I'm going to show you a trick. Now, this is great value pancake syrup, and all this is corn syrup with some flavoring. We're going to put a little bit of that in there. That's more sugar, but you don't want a whole lot of sugar to burn, but that'll loosen this batter up just a little bit. And give it more flavor. Alright, one more time. And we'll talk about our oil. See, it comes out, watch here, ribbons. So this is what I was talking about earlier. I'm going to use this measuring cup anyways. So we'll transfer it with a rubber spatula to a measuring cup to pour it in our skillet. No problem. I guess that's one of my catchphrases. Ain't no problem. Now I can smell that oil already, so I know it's ready. I got a small cast iron skillet ready. With oil in it. Another pro tip: take that water that you had in the small bowl, dump it in the bigger bowl, and you're not as wasteful. Yeah, you see a stack full of dishes I cleaned. Ain't no problem. This ain't Food Network here. This is an actual house and an actual daddy with actual kids. So you end up. I do not have a cut, by the way. My youngest daughter wanted to give me a Band-Aid. So you end up with a cup full of a measuring cup full of batter, and I'll find something to cover that up with here in a little bit, because I'm only making one of these. So in order to make the one, we need something. What do we need? If you don't have a cooling rack, even if you have a cooling rack, which I don't recommend, I've done it that way. You can do it, but you can put paper towels underneath it. Right there. Put this one. Little plate. That's a plastic plate. Fold your paper towels up so it absorbs. That's why it is better to put it directly on the paper towel, and it's going to soak up all that excess grease. Now what I've got, we're getting to the grease, is I'm folding this to fit the plate. I guess I can show you that too. But what I've got is a small cast iron skillet with vegetable oil. Come to find out, if you wanted to do it in lard, it is actually healthier for you, because once vegetable oil reaches its smoke point, there is a cancer-causing ingredient in it. I just seen that the other day. But also trans fat. Lard is lower in trans fat. Who knew? I didn't. So I've got coming out of frame again, the vegetable oil. I've got my flour. And you want to do it 350 to 375. But I don't ever go, unless I'm making candy. If I'm making candy, then yeah. But sprinkle, yeah. So you seen it sizzle. Sprinkle your little flour on there, and if it sizzles like that, it's ready to go. Now I'm going to bring it to the side. Try to concentrate and do this at the same time. So you start in the center and let your batter ooze out. You're doing a big ribbon. Wipe that off again. And now it's a waiting game. I'm honestly gonna turn the heat down just a bit. And you can hear it. It poofed up. I got my skillet a little bit hot. That's alright. No problem. And to be quite frank, this skillet's a little bit small for what I'm doing, but I did it that way so I can keep my portions small. I'm a bigger type guy. More is better. What you do is look underneath, and when it gets golden brown like that, I've got stuff going everywhere. You put the whole thing over. Bam. So it really looks like a pretzel, but it ain't a pretzel. Suppose you could have a sweet pretzel. Pretzel. That's how I knew I had my oil too hot, but dough's still a little bit raw on the inside. But you let it go again. That was my bottle collection that you seen. It's starting to get stiff. So my oil was too hot. I let it go too long. I turned that on when I started mixing everything. But I think we're fine. I know we're fine. So wax paper, parchment paper. Alright, so this is all I had. I ain't going to put this in there. What I'm going to do is break this apart, because I want to save this, and I'll do this after we eat supper. Again, it's almost 4. Just making a little snack. My middle daughter said she wanted my middle oldest said she'd take a thinking and doing it at the same time, and that's about ready to come off. Said she'd take a funnel cake. So what I'll do is, just like parchment paper, or not parchment paper, but saran wrap, which I hate. Here, I split a plastic bag and then just put it over top of it. You won't lose any moisture that way, and you put it in your fridge. And I'm glad I'm done with that. And we take the man, this looks like a pretzel. Take the funnel cake out. And just to show you, because the bottom side looks a lot like the top side. Wobbly. So you let it cool for a little bit. While you let it cool, now you can top this with fruit, anything. But absolutely what you got to do is hit it with some powdered sugar. But you want to let it cool first, because it'll melt the sugar. So it's cooled enough. Alright, let's bring you back down to my working level here. Bam. And bam. So what I do, because I'm practical, so the less dishes you mess up, the better off you are. What I do is get a little bit of, like a handful of powdered sugar. Since I'm using whipped cream too, which I've got here. Just like you sprinkling salt, right? And if you want to press your gas, you don't coat it with powdered sugar. You put enough on there so it sweetens it up. But you also, that's drained. Good enough anyways. Also want to leave the browns peeking through. And if I were using all this whipped cream, I'd cut a corner out and pipe it on. I'm not going to. So you put your whipped cream on. You could use marshmallow fluff, whatever. You hear that? Whatever. And then that's where you would go in with some berries if you wanted. Chocolate chips. Whatever, man. But there is a funnel cake, homemade, with homemade whipped cream, and a piece of my beard hair in there. This has been Cooking with Cornbread. Go Donald Trump. I'll see you on the flip side.